Hello and welcome to our first episode on our official BMxBM channel.
Thank you to all of our fans.
Yes, this is Bailey and
Maxie.
Sorry, cameras. But yes.
Absolutely. Welcome to episode 7, where we are discussing Animal Farm, classic. For those of you that are not familiar with Animal Farm, first, come on, let me know. I'll mail you a copy of the book. I have extras. Now, having got that shade out of the way, let's talk about this book. Melinda?
Yes. It's about animals on a farm.
Yes. Very good. Yes. So here's the gist of we won't tell you the whole thing, but basically the animals on this farm begin to figure out that they know things. They can learn. Obviously, they're talking to each other, which is not unusual in a story, in a work of fiction. But these particular animals start to figure out, we can do things. We can govern ourselves. And they basically take over the farm.
It's similar to Click Clack Moo, but to the extreme.
Right. So, and then at the moment of the revolution, everyone is equal. They have their slogans. They have everyone is equal on this farm. And then they have their rules. And it's a utopia. Everyone puts in work. Everyone does what they need to do to make the farm a farm run by animals for animals. But then, tell them the bad news.
But then Napoleon is a jerk, which we have learned
multiple times.
Many Napoleons, many people related to Napoleon. Anyway, looking at you, Leopold. So Napoleon takes over, and as it has been said, Orwell wrote this to reflect the story of the Russian Revolution in 1917, I believe. 1918.
Take your word for it.
So Napoleon ends up getting people to be his allies by using fear, very similar to the Reign of Terror with Robespierre, as I can attest to, not because I was there, but just because I'm a French teacher, so I know about Robespierre and Napoleon. So Napoleon rules with an iron fist or hoof, so to speak.
Right. He's a pig.
And it's
he's an actual.
He is.
Fine. Okay, go on.
He is. But it's also very interesting to see them backtracking on their 7 commandments, because one of them was that you will not sleep in a bed. You will not wear human clothes. And then they change it to, oh no, you can sleep in a bed. You just can't sleep with sheets in the bed because sheets are human invention. And then they start, they had a rule about not wearing clothes, and then they start having medals that they made from horse bridles that they didn't destroy. So it's really interesting to see how the regime backtracks. Napoleon gets rid of anyone who talks bad about him. And basically all of the ideals that they had of having running water and electricity in everyone's stall, that is kind of forgotten, and it's not utopian.
Yes. So here are the slogans or the laws. Whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Say the chant with me, Melinda. 2 legs.
2 legs bad.
4
legs good.
Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal. All animals are equal. Beautiful, beautiful words, beautiful mottos to live by. And as you've just shared, that lasted until Napoleon and the rest of the pigs began to figure out, well, the farmer is gone. We need a ruling class. And we're the brains of this outfit. We need to be able to do some stuff. So they begin to slowly change the words. Right after the revolution, they painted the laws on the side of the barn. And then every so often, the animals would notice that some of the laws had changed a little bit. And this is what you were talking about, Melinda.
With the sheets.
No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets. And no animal shall wear clothes except under these circumstances. They began to add exceptions to the rules. And eventually, as you say, even the rule no animal shall kill any other animal was essentially set aside, because if you mess with the powers
Bull.
to be, the pig,
So if you mess with the bull, you get
you get the tusks.
Yes.
Basically. Now, and then the last one, all animals are equal. And then you remember what that got changed to?
No, but they're not equal.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
That's yeah.
So this Animal Farm, for me, dive right into the analysis and commentary. And for those of you that think there are cheap shots in politics going on, welcome to our show. We are sharing our perspective on the world.
Yes.
Turn off the show if you don't like what we're saying. Sorry, unprofessional there. Was I not supposed to do that live on air? Our sponsors will not like that at all. Sorry, honey. I'm back. Anyway.
Political commentary.
Political commentary. But really, for me, this text, and so Orwell was writing about a government that existed well before his time. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting to me that so many of the things that we've read and that we're talking, the movies that we're talking about, aren't, even when they're about a specific political moment in history or they're about a specific issue, they're really addressing the human condition. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we should apply what we read and the art we consume to our life today. It's so criticism is we see and we are saying what we see, and we are comparing what we see to our understanding of what's right and wrong. So for us, for me, I should say, this is really interesting. And I made this comment to you, I think it was during the last show, that we now, I believe, have at least some number of folks who, for a long time, were very adamant about certain things being the most important thing. That if this thing isn't right, isn't there. So, for example, you have to tell the truth. It's important for you to tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth and you hold the highest office in the land, we will impeach you for it. But from my perspective, we've relaxed that rule. You must tell the truth when people aren't telling lies about you. You must tell the truth when that's what's important for people to hear. So it's, to me, the way I picture this is a rally of the animals that are saying 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. And they're supporting a leader who is not supporting that slogan for them, who is not doing for them what they are demanding, but they continue to support that type of leadership. And I want to be clear, any criticism I have of the United States government is because I live in the United States. If I lived in France or if I lived in Nigeria, when I was growing up living in Nigeria, these and similar criticisms are directed to whoever's in charge, To me, this is a matter of holding folks accountable. But Melinda, lighten the mood. Give us something different to think about.
Well, yes, Orwell wrote this to talk about the Russian Revolution, but I do see, as a French teacher, I see so many similarities between the Russian Revolution and the French Revolution. It starts off as a good idea. Let's have some sort of communism. Let's somehow change hypocrites in the church or the three estates, and then it just becomes everyone for himself. Robespierre kind of turned on everybody else and had this list, kind of McCarthy-esque before his time, of you're on this list and you're going to get killed. You are against the revolution.
Like Adam Defarge?
Potentially. I'm not sure.
In Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah. So, sorry. My husband's really funny sometimes. Anyway, but yes. So there's a list, and so many people that were friends of the revolution that had these great ideas started speaking out against Robespierre, and Robespierre got them killed. And I mean, the French Revolution ends with Robespierre trying to kill himself and blowing off his jaw. Eventually he gets guillotined, and then eventually Napoleon comes and is the king, well, emperor, but it's the monarchy that they were trying to destroy. So basically, this is not going to lighten the mood, but I don't know if we are capable of governing ourselves as humans. And I think Animal Farm can show a side of that. The thing that got me the most when I reread it, again, I'm a mother, I just had a baby, but one of the first instances of Napoleon's that gives you mistrust in Napoleon, the pig, is that they're trying to go work in the fields, and then the cows are in pain because they need to be milked. And they somehow figure out how to milk the cows. I think the pigs tell people the pigs tell the animals how to do it, and they get the cows milked, and then everybody goes out to the fields, but Napoleon stays behind, and then nobody talks about the milk. Like, that's the first thing that goes. And then later on you see these dogs that become, well, they're not dogs, they're actually still puppies, but they become Napoleon's henchmen. And he took them away from their mothers and raised them, which made me think about like HKs and the Hitler Youth, and how some countries can indoctrinate children from a very young age, which I don't know. I don't have personal.
You don't know any Hitler Youth?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's good.
But I can. One of my favorite stories that my family likes, when I went to China one time, we asked them, like, who is their favorite superhero? And a Chinese student said that Chairman Mao was his favorite superhero. So, I mean, sometimes people have different ideas of their government leaders.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think everybody tries. Well, I think some people do the best with what they're given, and some people don't. But I do think that in order for us to see change on a Napoleon-like level, we have to find people who are not all the way in charge in order for there to be change, if that makes sense. Like local senators, state senators, like those are the people who make big decisions in Congress, in the House of Representatives. And it's hard also because it seems like everybody has a lobbyist who's paying them for some sort of fee or.
So are you making a case for like term limits? Like once you've been in there and you're awesome, cool, step aside for someone else before you get Napoleonized?
Yes, I could see term limits, but also just, I feel like we need to start all over again, like in Logan's Run, and have the old man and the cats.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
Okay, so by the way, connection you just made about humans being able to govern themselves. Well, I can't cite my source right at this moment, but one of the theories of that I've heard discussed is that the best evidence that there is, the best explanation for why we've never met aliens and intelligent alien life is that if any intelligence develops to the level where it can achieve interstellar flight, it will destroy itself in the process. So the best evidence that there is intelligent life out there is that we haven't met any of them yet, and almost as a warning to humans that the things we need to achieve interstellar flight is the kind of technologies that would allow us to destroy our entire species. So have a care, humans.
Have you told Elon that?
No, he doesn't answer my tweets. But as I've said before, I think we're going to wake up one day and learn that whatever the name of the Heavy One or Voyager is already on the way to Mars. And then, of course, Space Odyssey 2001 is coming up later in our series, but we'll see how that actually goes. So, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, we continue to move forward with human development, so we will find out one way or the other whether that theory is correct. I'm going to share with you, Melinda,
yes,
an article that I don't know whether it will be interesting with you, but I'll share. You can see whether you are interested in reading it and then possibly discussing it. Basically, this is called 5 Things We Need to Know About Technological Change. And
we can link this in the show notes, by the way, which will be in the description.
So, well, I better let you read it first because perhaps this is dry esoterica that no one else will like, and you can back me off it a little bit. But basically, so if you're interested, I'll share this with you. But, similar things like the advance of technology, we always treat it as if it's inherently good, and it's not inherently good.
You've described that before. Maybe Gattaca? I don't know.
Yeah, during that one. So we've gotten political. We've made connections to aliens.
And history.
I mean, full circuit. I'm not sure what's food. All right. So what else is there to say about this? I really feel like closing in on 19 minutes, we're just being really calm about this text when it's one of the, in my view, great texts of the literature available to us and should stand out like a sore hoof in the landscape of our show. And
there's so much that could be done using this text cross-curricularly.
For sure.
I mean, I know we read it. I think I read it as a freshman. It was either, I think it was freshman year.
Move on.
What?
I said it doesn't matter. Move on.
Yes, sir.
You read it.
So it's like one of the first books that I like highlighted the stew out of and just like wrote in the margins and saw all of these things. And it really just brought so many things to mind. And I just really appreciated it. I had a teacher, I think it was Miss Gladwell, and she really loved William Shakespeare. But it was just the first book that it resonated with me. And even now, another connection, there's a book that I can't think of the name of it right now. I think it's like, it sounds like Shades of Gray, but it's about
How many?
how Stalin, it's not that kind of book,
Okay.
but it's about how Stalin ethnic cleansing basically in Eastern Europe, and how all these people were forced to work in labor camps. And at one point in the book, it's based on true accounts, it's historical fiction, but at one point they all huddle in a hut and an American ship goes by. And it's really hard to think through that lens and think about the brutality that was happening in a country which was our ally for World War II.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. And that was one of the other things that I sent to you. There's an Eddie Izzard stand-up where he talks about how if it's a dictator who kills their own people, it's almost like we're proud of them. But if they kill people from another country that's not their own people, then that's bad. And I can see this, like, even when you look at stuff that's happened in the Congo, stuff that's happened throughout the world. Like, there's so much injustice. This is not a good light show. But
No.
anyways, there's so much injustice. And I think regardless of whatever happens, we still have to fight against it. That's my takeaway from Animal Farm.
Well, okay, so my takeaway, I want to turn this text back on you and me and say this should also be a warning to folks who think they're trying to do good and to change their surroundings, and to say beware of your own success. That if you are successful in changing the wrongs you see around you, this text warns us about becoming the wrong that you have righted. And that's very scary. That's terrifying to think, if I am doing my level best to make the world a better place, to unmake the injustices I see around me, what do I need to do to ensure that I don't replace the evil that I have booted from the world? And that's serious to me.
And to me, that's like one of the takeaways from Quarren teaching. We're not doing standardized tests as we have known them. Yeah. We did not administer the ACT this month in our country. Yeah. And I mean, if some kids needed that in order to get into, a certain score for scholarships or for college admission, things can look differently. What can we do with this change that we have to take part in? Okay, our fan is telling me the title of the book is Between Shades of Gray. It's very good. It's very emotional, which, I mean, it's in a Siberian labor camp. So if you don't cry, I don't know who you are.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. All right. Looking to the horizon, we have another classic coming up this Friday, April 17th, the movie Brazil.
Yes.
Melinda, I just watched this movie. I had seen it before, but I watched it over the weekend. And it's a thing. It's going to be a great discussion this Friday, live right here.
Yes.
At 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific.
I'm guessing it's written and directed by Terry Gilliam, one of the members of Monty Python.
Fantastic.
So it's one of his films. And it came out the year I was born, 1985. Ooh. Yes.
TMI, don't tell us anything more. There may be hackers listening in. They already know your name. All right. Miss Bailey, it's a pleasure as always.
Yes.
Let's do a high five. The other way. All right. We'll get the hang of it later.
Yes.
And for our fan out there and for you, Melinda, I'm working on getting an original composition as our stinger for the show. So the intro and exit music. So coming soon to a show near you, an intro and exit movie composed and performed by students. Go ahead.
Also, do you have a show and tell for this show?
I don't.
Okay.
I I have a stack of these books, but I didn't bring it with me.
I cooked some bacon for dinner.
So once again, I'd like to thank my nominee for best supporting actor is the ambiance in the background over there. The sound of plates clinking is just phenomenal. As far as I can tell, you may have been in a French cafe and you and I are pontificating. So bravo.
That's how the revolution starts, Maxie.
That is how it starts. See you all on Friday evening.
Watch Brazil.